Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Senior Master Sergeant Rob Trubia. I'm the Superintendent of Public Affairs here at the 153rd Airlift Wing in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Today I'm joined by our Wing Commander, Col Justin Walwrath, and the Flight Chief for Recruiting, Master Sergeant Mike Palmer. We wanted to take some time to reach out to you so you could reach out to us with questions. We've got several questions that have already come in. We know this is a time where there's just a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions, and we want to be able to communicate with you the best we can. Of course, be reaching out to your supervisors, your commanders, as often as you feel necessary, any questions you have. But we thought it would be a good idea to just maybe bring Colonel Walwrath in and answer some of these questions. Before we get started, I think we just have an opening statement from Colonel Walwrath.
Hey, hello everybody. First, I'm Col Justin Walwrath. I am from Wyoming. I was born and raised in Thermopolis, actually, so shout out to anybody that's watching from Thermopolis. And as you know, being the Wyoming Guard, there are a great number of us actually from Wyoming that are in this unit. I'm married. I have 3 children that 19, 16, and 11 years old that are at home watching this, hopefully. You know, you all know what's going on in the world right now. Some of the things I'm really watching closely, both Italy and New York. You know, I think those 2 places are the key to how this thing falls out. And I believe that Italy's about 3 weeks ahead of us in this whole scenario. You know, here in the Wyoming Guard, our wing is healthy. We're preserving the force, doing a number of things. One, we're mostly teleworking, and if we're here, we're split shifts. So we're trying to preserve the force for when and if we are called. We know we are following the CDC guidelines here, and I think if everyone in the country was following the CDC guidelines, we would see this thing greatly improve, which is social distance, of course. Stay outside of 6 feet of each other if you can. Stay home, wash your hands frequently, and if you're sick, self-quarantine. I've been talking to all the wing CCs around the world, especially in New York, and seeing how they're handling the situation right now. Currently, they have some tasks, and we're looking at those same tasks in case it were to come here in more numbers. Being in Wyoming, it's a rural area. I think we're going to be a lot better off than the cities are going to be. People in rural areas, normally stay a good distance from each other. Houses aren't close together. We're not on top of each other. And in Wyoming, they're taking this thing pretty seriously. So, I see us being a little bit better off here in rural America. To the citizens of the state, like I said, I'm not sure when and if we're going to be called. However, I want you to know that we're ready. We have medical teams, civil engineers, firemen, mechanics, air crew, emergency managers, logistics specialists, communication specialists, cooks, chaplains. We have a lot of folks. And we have a lot of equipment to include aircraft, tents, generators, vehicles, and mobile command posts, just to name a few things. To the 153rd members out there that are watching, I hope a lot of you are watching. This is a great way to get questions to us as you're isolated here and overseas. And we'll go into more some of the deployment considerations that we have right now. In April, we're going to have a virtual drill. So you are going to be able to get credit for drill and get paid at home while we give you classes. It's going to be pretty good. Some of you that are deploying might be required to come in, but the vast majority of folks will be able to do this outside. So don't be alone. If you have any questions, ask your chain of command, and like I always say, you can call me directly too. I will answer the phone, and I will answer anything that you have. With that, I think the most important thing is that we go to some questions, and so I'll have Sergeant Trubia send a few.
Thank you, sir. So you did touch on April drill. That is definitely one of the top questions that we have. So can you elaborate on that a little bit? April drill, I know for a lot of people, they depend greatly on that drill check, maybe even now more than ever. And so people will be getting paid in April, and we're not going to be seeing the vast majority of people here on the base.
That's a true statement. Unless you're deploying and you need some real hands-on training that we have to get here, then you do not have to be here. Check with your squadron commanders. They will be getting to you, and we will pay you. We will pay you for the weekend if you do the virtual training.
All right, thank you, sir. I think another question we have here is people are just curious, even though nothing's happened here in Wyoming, we know in other parts of the country, the Air National Guard is involved in supporting this crisis. What can you tell us about other units, or just in general, how is the Air National Guard responding thus far?
So approximately 22 of the states, I believe 22 to 25 of the states, it's increasing every day, have activated troops. Wyoming has not yet, because we are not at the same point many of those other states are. So we have activated, throughout the country, just National Guard troops, we've activated about 9,000 of them. And that, what we're doing currently, we're adding about 1,000 National Guard troops a day.
Another question, certainly on people's minds, state activation here in Wyoming. Has anyone been activated yet? And also the question is, if some people are interested in volunteering to activate, can they do that? How do they get on a list? What are the opportunities, sir?
Okay, all the squadron commanders are currently calling their folks, and I've told them to be in touch and know who's readily available, and so they will be giving them that information. We have not been activated. We have not been asked by the governor to be activated. Other states, of course, have activated their folks, and they're under a Title 32 status, which means they will be under state control, but paid by the federal government. And you may have seen the president say that just the other day.
Thank you. And in regards to that, we did have a question as well. If you're an AGR and say this thing does progress, we do see some activations, could AGRs be activated to help in the state of Wyoming?
Yes, absolutely, because they'll go under a Title 32 status. So if the Title 32 status is there, the active Guard reserve folks will be activated. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Certainly on the minds of a lot of people. I lost my job. Can I do my AT days? Great question.
Yes. So be in touch with your commanders, and they will have, as we get deeper and deeper into this, we'll have more and more tasks. So if you are available, please let us know, and we will try to put you on orders or days or whatever combo that we can do. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, sir. A lot of questions coming in with and some very specific questions, which are great. Thank you for sending those in about flying and such. I got a general question in regards to this. Are we flying airplanes right now?
We are training. We are only training for folks that are deploying right now to keep them current if they're going overseas into being activated overseas. So we are, but it's a minimum schedule, and we're trying to keep as many people off the base as we can so that they're not grouped together.
Great. Thank you, sir. Question that came in. If we live in another state and the National Guard is called up, can I volunteer and try to volunteer with another state?
That is a good question. I believe that we can do that. We have done that before with other units. So yes, it would take a little bit of effort, but definitely now, of course, your state would have to release you here to go to another state to help them out.
Okay, thank you. Great question here, stating F.E. Warren has limited some base access. Are we limited here for access to base? If somebody needs to come in, they want to pick something up in their office, that kind of thing. What can people do?
So we don't have as many services as F.E. Warren has, right? A BX or commissary hospital, all those things. And so we don't have a lot of traffic on base, but we are limiting it to people with an actual ID card, military ID card. However, you can call us, so retirees, veterans, they can call us here and they have the numbers and make appointments. And with those appointments, then we'll schedule people in 1 and 2. But we are limiting base access to people that really need to be here right now.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Question I know is on a lot of minds, specifically of our dependents back here from our deployed airmen. Are our deployed airmen coming home from deployment as scheduled?
Well, there's a lot of talk on that, and so and it's a very complex issue right now. They've put a stop for right now about people coming in and coming out. We do have people that are going in right now, and then we have a swap out of some troops later. So we are digging through that, and I was on a phone conference for about an hour and a half talking just about that subject. So if you're in theater right now, your theater commander, your squadron commander over there, or wing commander will probably have more up-to-date information than I currently have. What I can tell you is that continue to plan on going over, and we are continuing to train like we are going. If you are there, I will say this is not official, this is just from me. If I was a wing commander over in theater and I had a clean base, meaning I don't have any COVID-19 on base, I would really tend to want to restrict the travel of people in and out of that base that might be carrying that. So that is one thing they're looking at, but they are looking at it, and that's not us here. Here we're just tasked with getting people over. And so more to follow, and like I said, I had an in-depth discussion with your group commanders about an hour ago, and they will have some more information on that.
Very good, sir. So I think it sounds like be ready to go.
Be ready to go.
But be flexible.
Absolutely.
Here's a great question that was sent in earlier. I'm supposed to retire this summer. Do you anticipate a stop loss?
I don't know. I don't see one coming down. We haven't been talking about a stop loss, but I will tell you this. We don't know how COVID is gonna 19 is gonna affect the economy, right? And we know the longer that this thing goes, the harder it is on the economy, because America has shut down a lot of things, as well as the world. So, my advice to you would be, you might want to stay around a little bit longer, because we are here, and we're an employer, and we're able to. If you should lose your job, we can definitely find work for trained individuals here.
Excellent. And question, this one says, if I'm a drill status guardsman, am I free to travel if I choose to? If someone's living in Cheyenne, they're a drill status guardsman, and they decide they want to drive down to Arizona or whatever they want to do, but can they do that legally, lawfully?
Legally, you're not on a status, right? So you're considered, if you're not here, you are on a status, and you're in a civilian status. And so yes, the answer legally is yes. Do I recommend it? No. I may be calling you, I may need you, and I am not allowing, my family, or I'm not recommending to anyone that they travel unnecessarily.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Here's one of interest. So I think a lot of us that were in the military, or even just remember, after 9/11, we saw quite an uptick of people wanting to serve. And we're in a national crisis, obviously, a national emergency. And this question I think would be best for Sergeant Palmer. Sergeant Palmer, are we seeing any kind of additional interest in recruiting? I think people are just curious.
So I think at the early stages right now, we're starting to see some steady increases in call-ins, but obviously if you are interested and you are watching, feel free to give us a call. We have recruiters working from home, so we can have in the comments section, we can have all the recruiters' information uploaded into the comment section. If one of our recruiters is watching, go ahead and do that. But yeah, so as of right now, I think it's a little early, but I do think we will see some.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And is there been any delay? Are we still sending people to basic? Are we still enlisting people, sending them to basic training? Are we still sending people to tech school?
So as of right now, basic training and tech school is mission essential, so we are still currently sending them. Additionally, we are still open for business. How that looks, it's a little bit different right now. We are working from home, all of our recruiting staff, so we are having one person in the office at a time. So we are available by appointment only. So again, those numbers in the comment sections are extremely important. And then again, with MEPS as well, the Military Entrance Processing Station, we are monitoring them closely. Obviously, we don't have a MEPS here in Wyoming, so we rely on Denver MEPS, Salt Lake MEPS, and hopefully soon in the future, Omaha MEPS. However, they did just recently jump up to phase 2 in their processing, so it is a little bit stricter. So our recruiters are aware of the situation and helping inform our applicants. Yep.
Okay. And here's just a question to be, I know a lot of people are been laid off. They're looking for jobs, they're looking for opportunity. Realistically, the process, what do? Pick up the phone, call a recruiter? I mean, are they going to basic training tomorrow, next week, 6 months? Maybe just shed some light on that. A lot of people.
So absolutely. So if you are interested in looking for job opportunities, you can give us a call. One of our recruiters will pre-qualify you. From there, we do schedule an appointment down with the Military Entrance Processing Station where you'll take your ASVAB and your physical as well. At that point, you'll go ahead and be qualified based on the jobs that you qualify for. And then as soon as you're done with that, you can enlist. It is about a 3 to 4 month break period to go to basic training. So it's not going to be today, tomorrow, but it is something that you can do for the future.
Great, that's very helpful. So I've got a question that was emailed in earlier. It gets down in the weeds, but that's good. This is what we're looking for. The question is, has AMC Stanival granted an extension on check rides that will be coming due in the next 3 months? Sir?
We've been talking about that. Absolutely. We have some ability to do that here. The Ops Group Commander does. But I have been bugging the Weapons System Council. The C-130 Weapons System Council is bugging those folks out at NGB and AMC to get a blanket waiver for that, because those are just hard things to do right now.
Thank you. And goes on to ask, will there be an extension of the semi-annual period for flyers?
I foresee that happening. Once again, we're trying to get a blanket policy, them to give us blanket okay to do that. We do have some abilities to do that ourselves, but I see that coming with everything going on.
So it seems like there's a lot of flexibility here. You're working on this. This is a moving target.
Absolutely.
Changing every day. Very good. Thank you, sir. We'll put the number. We're always looking for people to join our team here at the Wyoming Air Guard. There's a lot of opportunity here. I think this is the time that you want to be in the National Guard. I think people are they're proud to be here. They're excited to get the opportunity. I mean, I'm seeing things come up on Facebook and questions being sent in. People want to be activated and they want to serve. And we'll make sure we get that information out to them as soon as possible. Looking for some more questions that are coming in. Let's see, it's scary to read a question first time live, so let's hope this goes well. What do you all recommend, if anything, for CFETP progression toward upgrade while we're all teleworking? So training has just kind of come to a stop? Or are we training records? I think people are concerned about getting their upgrade training, which is great. They're concerned.
Absolutely. If you can do it from home, continue to do it from home, right? So if we're paying folks to be at home and they're working from home, and so if you're able to continue it, please do. Absolutely.
Someone mentioned here, and of course this isn't official. It's someone put this in here, but maybe you know something about this, sir. A base-wide email just went out with restrictions at FE Warren. They are now an HP Con Charlie. Have you heard anything about that, and do you see us following? If
I have. I briefly had a message from the wing commander at FE Warren Air Force Base, and we have discussed this previous, and they are restricting some things. As you know, they're a missile base, they have a nuclear mission, and they are very interested in keeping everybody there as healthy as they can. So those people that are pretty critical, they're being isolated together, and so that they can do their mission. With that, we're seeing an uptick in Cheyenne, the community itself, in positive cases, cases that have been tested, and as you know, cases that have been tested, there's probably a lot more that are out there that have not been tested, right? We're only reporting those ones that actually get a positive. So, the base is going to be pretty restricted, and he has put in some times for veterans and retirees to be able to use a limited number of facilities on base, mostly being the commissary and the BX. So, yes, that is a true statement.
Thanks, sir. We have an individual here that put in a question about going red on their dental. They said they have a meeting. They had supposed to have an appointment with the dentist this week. As far as things like that, because we want to make sure people are ready to go out the door. What kind of advice do you have for that as far as appointments?
Well, try to, of course, try to get it done right, and try to get it done safely, and so that you're not, that you're not in a place that you're going to, acquire the COVID-19, right? But we are definitely working that. There was a message that came out prematurely that actually waived all of that, and apparently the message I got this morning is that was a premature message. However, it's going to come out later again that your PHAs will be extended at least 90 days. So we'll see. And the same thing, that attaches the dental to it. So attempt to get it, stay safe first, and then we will work through those things. But in a time of crisis, right, in a time of war, we're against the enemy's a little bit different right now. We waive things and we get people to the fight and we get them where they need to be. And I promise you that if we are called on, we will work through those things.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Question here about, well, this is good. I won't give this to the wing commander. I'll answer this one a little bit. It's about having a Mac computer and our virtual drill this April. Will the CAT card reader work with my Mac? The answer to that is maybe. The best advice I can give you if you have a Mac computer is Google it. There is some good advice on there on how to do it, depending on how savvy you are with the computer. I've gotten it to work myself. I know other people have too, but it is a little bit touch and go there. So maybe have a backup plan, or we'll try to be, I think, as flexible as possible with this kind of thing. Let's see, what other questions? Someone did post the phone number for recruiting. We appreciate that. 307-772-6333. Are we still answering that phone? I know nobody's in the office.
We are, absolutely. So it's forwarded to our command support staff, so they will be answering those phones.
Okay, very good. So this is a drill where April got pushed. Normal drill gets pushed because of Palm Sunday, Easter. I think that's kind of part of the reason it's so late in the month. We're gonna turn around really quick, and there's gonna be a May drill. So stand by. How do people find out about May drill?
We will update you as soon as we can. I can't predict how this, and I've watched a lot of it, right? I've talked to the medical community. We just can't predict how this thing is going to go. We're going to have to stay flexible, and we'll, just like April drill, we'll get word out, with plenty of time to plan for that. But hopefully, we're having May drill. That's what I'm hoping for. But we'll see.
That would be a great thing. This wasn't actually a question that came in. This was something that came up in a discussion. I'll pose it as a question. If I'm a DSG or even a full-time member here, and I think I might have COVID-19, I have the symptoms, besides getting regular, contacting their doctor, what's the protocol here, sir? Are they supposed to call that in, talk to their supervisor, call the clinic? What are they?
Absolutely. So, of course, you're going to want to call your supervisor, and then, telecon with your health provider also. That's important. They don't necessarily want you going to the hospital if you don't really need to be there, or emergency room, but do get on a nurse line or wherever they have to kind of figure that out, and then call the supervisor and let us know that you have some symptoms that possibly could be, and we'll stay in contact with you, and we want you to stay away from others, of course. Self-quarantine.
In regards to quarantine, we did see an email that just came out about you're supposed to self-quarantine for 14 days if you come back from training. Can you give us any more details on that? Do we have people out right now at schools and stuff?
So we do. They're essential, basic training, and then the follow-on technical schools. The military is considering that they are essential to be at, and so they are under, amongst, they're trying to keep those folks isolated and those schools isolated and keep the people as clean as possible, but you are amongst a lot of people. And so when you come back, we don't want you to come back here and begin training immediately with us. When you get back from those schools, we'll pay you, and then we'll just have you stay at home for 14 days to make sure that you're okay. Excellent, sir. We've got a post here from I think someone in ComFlight. If you do need a CAT card reader, they do have some available. It's a limited numbers, but their number is 772-6002. And I know they're really busy. Just a shout out to them. They're doing a great job because so many people instantly are telecommuting, and that creates a huge amount of questions about how to get onto your email and that kind of thing. And they're happy to take your calls. I know they're split shift. They're staffing that phone. So don't hesitate to call if you're getting frustrated and you can't get into your email and that type of thing.
So, sir, do you have any advice for haircuts? We're all trying to stay in regulation. Two questions. One is, do I need to wear my uniform if I'm telecommuting? And number two is, if we do show up at Major Hill and the barber shops are still closed, will there be some type of waiver?
Those are good questions. Of course, you got to wear your uniform at home. No, of course not. I've been doing a little bit of telecommuting, and I'm not wearing my uniform. However, with the haircut, I will tell you that I've been cutting my own hair for 20 years, so I probably won't give any leeway on that one. Do maintain standards, and you can come to my house. I'll cut your hair for you.
I will not give out your address, sir. We'll do that. Sergeant Palmer, what kind of opportunities right now? What are kind of some of the biggest needs? I mean, the reason we're so it's so important that we recruit. It's not because we're trying to get to a certain number, just because we're trying to get a certain number. We're trying to get to a certain number because we have needs in the wing. So we're ready to go, whether it be overseas or in state. What kind of opportunities right now are available?
So we have a lot of opportunities available right now. Obviously, anywhere in the command and control squadron, it's over on FE Warren. They're a self-sustaining unit, so they have any job that you can really think of, anywhere from security forces, supply, services, RF transmissions, cyber, and then likewise that transfers over to the wing side, where we obviously need aircraft mechanics, and then security forces as well. And really, there's opportunities pretty much everywhere. So you can talk to your local recruiter about what openings we have specifically.
Great. Thank you, Sergeant Palmer. So this forum, we'd appreciate you giving us some feedback on this forum. It looks like we've got about 250-ish people tuned in. We really appreciate that. This will be recorded, obviously onto Facebook, so those of you that couldn't tune in live, you feel free to share this. We'd love that. We want to get the information out the best we can. If you liked this forum, please let us know. If you prefer a different forum, let us know that too. We're really listening. The important thing is that you feel that you are getting your questions answered and you have access to the leadership here at the 153rd. This time it doesn't look like we have any more specific questions. I'm going to turn this over to Colonel Walwrath just for some closing remarks.
Hey, absolutely. It's a hard time to be a wing commander right now because I just don't have that personal contact with everybody. And as you all know, I wander around the base a lot and talk to people on the weekend drill and throughout the week. And so it's a tough time. I think this is one way that I can get information out, and I think it's great. So, a few years back we wouldn't have had this, been able to do this. As far as recruiting goes, we have some great people in this wing, right? But we don't. We have positions, and we need some more people. As I've said before in a previous video, this is the time, right? This is the time when Americans step up, and there are a lot of Americans stepping up right now to fight this. Whether they're manufacturing ventilators or masks, right? Or they're helping their neighbor, or they're going to get food for folks that are shut in their house that don't want to go out. America's stepping up. You won't always see that good news, but in my neighborhood and here, I see that every day, and I'm just it's great to see. So if you're one of those people that want to go beyond themselves or put the needs of others ahead of your own self, right? This is the place to do it, and people here are pretty satisfied in the work that they do. And so I'd love you, if that's you, I'd love you to be on my team. We're going through a crisis right now. This country's going through a crisis. This is a pandemic. But pandemics, they end, right? This will come to an end. What I think is most important for everybody watching is when you look back at this crisis, how did we do, right? How did we do as a country, and how did you do as an individual? And we're going to see that folks in the Wyoming Air Guard and in the Wyoming Army Guard also, have stepped up and done their part. And so I just implore you, good folks of the state, step up when you can. And I know, being from Wyoming, that most will. And you will remember that. You remember what you did to help others. So with that, thank you for taking the time for this. I would love to talk to you individually. I know it's impossible to do, but if you need anything, send me an email, write me, or a phone call. But I greatly have appreciated your time.
Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time, as Colonel Walwrath said, and we'll be sending out updates if we're going to do this again, and continue to look for information. And thank you again. Please share this to as many people as you think could use it. And thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.